he's actually at Robert Drysdale's right now, one of the best lightweights in the world, who continues to prove as much every time out in the UFC. The Motown phenom, Kevin Lee, is with us. Good morning, man. Thank you for a few minutes today, sir.
What's happening, baby? Yeah, like you said, I'm at Drysdale, so I just got done. You said you're calling me in 5 minutes. I said I could squeeze in one more round. So if I'm breathing heavy, give me a second.
Well, that's quite all right. We'll let you catch your breath. So no lightweight in the UFC has more wins than you since 2014. That was the year you made your debut. You don't turn 25 until next month, September 4th. So, I mean, are you ahead of schedule at this point? You got to feel pretty good about the results thus far.
I'm right on schedule. That's the thing. I stay consistent. I think consistency is the key, especially for me being as young as I am. I got to get that experience in to try and catch up with some of these guys. You know, some of these guys that I'm fighting, they've already had other experiences in other combat sports. Like when I fought Trinaldo, he was a 3-time kickboxing champion. And people think that, that just means that he's able to kickbox real well, but it also comes with that experience. He's got a lot of fights under his belt, a lot of time under that needs some lights, and, that's something that I've had to catch up with. So I stay consistent, but I said many years ago that my goal has always been to be the world champion at 25, and right now I'm right on pace for that. I ain't taking no days off. Even since the last fight, I'm working like a dog. So I'm not gonna fight until December, but I feel like I'm in the middle of the training camp right now.
So yeah, the rumors of a UFC pay-per-view in Detroit before the year is out. So it sounds like to me your focus has already shifted towards that card. I mean, you got to be on there, maybe even in a headlining capacity potentially.
Oh yeah, I said that in January. I already knew I was going to bring them there, whether they were planning on going there or not. I was going to bring them there. So it's true if I say it's true. And if you go back and you watch some of my interviews from January, I said that I was going to call for it. I said I would go from unranked, unknown to a number one contender in one calendar year. So that's been my goal. That's what I'm doing. Cody Garbrandt pulled it off last year. John Jones pulled it off a couple years ago, and this year is my year.
So far, it is your year. You've won 5 in a row, the last of which a submission win over Michael Chiesa. That was a main event in Oklahoma City in June. So do you go right back and sit down with Robert Follis and Dewey Cooper and watch the film and see what you like and maybe what you didn't like? Like, what is your post-fight process before you get right back into the gym? It's
always the same. I don't treat it no different. People think certain ways about me. They think I'm one way or another. But to be honest, I'm still the same whether I win or I lose. I go back, I look at what I did wrong in that fight, and I look at what I did right and what I can make better. So we did the same thing. It's not just me. I've got a very, very smart team behind me. I trust these guys. I mean, I literally trust these guys with my life. So, we go back, we sit back on it. We see, I think I bring something new to the game. I bring something that I bring that next generation of MMA. You see people argue about who's the best wrestler in MMA, and they see guys like Georges St. Pierre or some of these guys, but nobody has been able to blend all of grappling together, and I think that's what I bring to the game and what I do really well, especially in this division. I look at the rest of this division and it's all stagnant. All these guys, you look at everybody above me; they all been doing the same thing that they've been doing for 3, 4, 5 years, and I bring something new to every fight. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. And after every fight, that's what the game plan is how can we get better? How can I give something that these kids is coming up? Because these guys don't understand. Like it's some monsters coming up these days. I've rolled with some guys that are 20, 21 years old and are monsters. So I'm trying to stay ahead of their game. I'm not even really trying to catch up to anybody above me right now. I already feel like I'm above them. So, all I need is a fight to prove it.
Kevin, I know you're training all the time, but do you have a fight right now scheduled or no?
Hell no. I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Look, your boy trying to get something popping. So, me, I'm barking at everybody.
Yeah.
I was calling for Gaethje or Alvarez. Me and Alvarez, we ran into each other at the UFCPI, and I talked shit to him for like 20, 25 minutes. I can't get none of these boys to bark back. It's hard when you're a one-legged dog in a race. So I'm trying to get somebody. I'm trying to go Nate up out of his little cage. See if he really talking about fighting. So most of these guys, they just don't want to fight. How many times do I got to call for guys like Khabib, Nate Diaz, all these guys, Tony, they don't want to fight. So, I don't know. I'm going to keep barking out some doors. I'm going to keep knocking on some doors. Somebody going to answer eventually.
Kevin, paint your perfect picture on your way to becoming UFC lightweight champion. What does that look like?
Right now, I think the best move right now is Nate Diaz in Detroit. Me and him headlining that card is going to be massive. Not only that, but I'm going to beat the hell out the man. and then we're going to move right into it. I don't know. It's kind of muddy right now, especially with them introducing the 165 division. I feel like that's my division. That's where I'm more suited at. Right now, I'm almost 190 pounds, and I'm training like a dog. So, 165 is my move. That's where I'll be the world champion. It's whenever they implement it. But if they want me to go ahead and take that 155 strap too, I ain't got no problem with that. I think I'll take out Nate, and then I've already been on Mayweather's side with this whole deal. So once McGregor gets his ass beat by Mayweather, he can come over to my world and get it.
Kevin, what do you think needs to be done? Because it seems like in a lot of divisions, especially in the lightweight division, because it is so nasty, it seems like everyone's really kind of scared to fight each other. It seems like no one wants to take the risk to fight a guy who's ranked below them, or it seems like a lot of the guys are kind of locked up into that top 6, top 5 or whatever. What can be done to get guys to actually fight each other at this point?
You know what? You got to change the mindset. Like, some of these dudes, like, they're just soft, you know? They all want to beg for money fights. They all want to beg for title shots. Like, that's going to give them something, you know? That ain't my goal. My goal ain't to get a title shot. My goal is to be a champion and be a champion for a long time. So I'm in here to make money fights. I'm not in here to ask for them. You know, I'm not asking for any of these dudes to fight me because I think it's a money fight. I'm asking for these dudes because they're tough fighters and they're going to make me better. So, even if I got to beat up on Ally Kemper again in Detroit, you know, that's a big card. I think we can co-headline that card. Maybe if they put Chris Cyborg or somebody as a headliner. Because it's pay-per-view, so they're obviously going to want a title fight. But even if it's me and Al, like I'm making a money fight, so it don't matter to me. But what matters to me is making the fight, making the people want to watch the fight, and we go out there and we're going to get it done. You know, at the end of the day, I'm a prize fighter. I go out there and I beat people up for money. So it's whoever want to sign that line and think they can get it done.
That's UFC lightweight contender Kevin Lee joining us here on the Anik and Florian podcast. You mentioned the 165-pound division. No imminent plans for the UFC, obviously, to implement it, but you have obviously gone on record prior and now today as saying that is what you feel like would be your best weight class. So if the UFC doesn't go with the 65ers, eventually, do you feel like you'd move up to welterweight, or are those guys too big?
Yeah, I might move up to welterweight too. I honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to see how this whole thing shakes out with I think everybody's kind of waiting on this Mayweather-McGregor thing to get done, and then we can really get on with our lives. It's some bullshit, so I'm trying to wait for that, see how that shakes out, and then I think the rest of the division will fall in place. But either way, eventually I'm going to have to go up. You know, I started this when I was in the UFC when I was 20, 21 years old, and I'm just getting older. I'm just getting as a bigger person. You know, I'm getting better with my with my cardio and my nutrition. But at the same time, I'm just a bigger dude. I'd be much more situated. I could fight more often. You know, if they had a 165 division, I fight every goddamn month. I don't care. Like, I'm always training anyway. So what sets it apart for me is these big 25, 30-pound cuts. I have to take a lot of time off between, and I'm still one of the most active guys. So, I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm up at the UFCPI. I'm about to head there after this, see if I can give Jeff Novinsky a couple more donuts, see if I can sweep up him a little bit to open up this division.
All right, we got a couple more minutes here with Kevin Lee. So, Kevin, most UFC champions.
We got all day, baby. We got all day.
Right. Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate you cutting out some time. So, most of the UFC champions, I would say, have that championship confidence. Some people would call it like an aura about them. They believe they're the best and have the skills to be the number one guy. You're very much of that belief. What is the key to getting better and making sure that these 21-year-old upstarts don't pass you by?
Yeah, you know, you got to keep them in their place every now and again. So, I got to put it on a couple of them. But at the same time, it's staying humble. It's staying with that same mindset that I had that brought me here. You know, that hunger. When you really, like, a lot of people, and I try to explain this even to the young fighters that I see around. They think, you just because you can fight really well means that you're ready for that pro level, or you're ready for that higher level. When you realize, like, you're fighting with dudes that are fighting for their lives. You know, they fighting for their families. Which is, it's such a massive difference between guys that just go out and just, compete, or just do, little tournaments, or even just little fights, and they don't really give a damn. When you go in there against somebody that really has that hunger, that really has that drive, and is willing to die for it, it sets the mindset apart. So a lot of what being a champion is to me is that mindset. I'm a champion regardless if they put that damn 12 pounds of gold. I really don't give too much of damn about it. There's fans out here with 2-3 gold belts. So, if I make enough money, I'll just go buy my own damn gold belt. I don't really need one. So I feel like I'm a champion, win, lose, draw, whatever. So I train that way. I go into the next day that way, and I'm going into tomorrow that way.
God, I love it. I could listen to this man talk all day. All right, so who represents the toughest fight for you then at this point of your career? Is it Conor McGregor, Khabib Nurmagomedov, or your boy Tony Ferguson?
A lot of people would think it's Conor. Honestly, I think Conor will probably be one of the easiest fights. You know, people don't, you know, I guess everybody buys into the hype, especially the casual fans. They buy into that hype so bad. When you look at a skill for skill, I think if you ask Conor like how to, you know, break down some of these techniques, I don't think he would have a damn clue what he's talking about. Especially when you talk about on the ground, you know, and there's no way that man will keep his hand, you know, not let me get my hands on him. So he actually would be one of the easiest fights, you know, the build up and everything along with it. It will make it tough, but the actual fight itself, I think, won't be too hard. The hardest fight right now, if you're asking me, the hardest fight for me is always guys that I don't give it, that I always think suck. So maybe it might be Nate Diaz. You never know. I think Nate Diaz is trash. Yeah. So maybe he might give me the worst fight because I'll go in there overconfident. You never know. So I try and stay true to myself. I try to stay honest with myself. And if I'm being honest, it's always the guys that I think suck the worst that always do the best against me. And that might just be somebody like Nate.
That's interesting. Well, I was glad to see you get a performance bonus for that finish of Michael Chiesa. I'm sure your mom got something. What was the nicest thing that you bought for yourself since that fight, June 25?
I actually just bought my first home. So I bought my first home in Las Vegas. I got it in the Lakes area. We closing on it right now, and I should be moved in by next week. So that's been kind of like taking up a lot of my time, a lot of my energy. But it's a damn nice house, and we came a long way from where we came from. I'm telling you that right now.
Congrats, man. That's great.
Earned it, man. At 24 years old, buying yourself a house in Vegas. Gotta love it. All right,
so a couple years ago, I got a house with my mom, and I got a house with my dad. You know, here in Centennial Hills. So right now, I've just been like living out of a condo. So it's about goddamn time that I'm able to shine a little bit.
All right, I'll get you out of here on this because I do see you as a future analyst someday. And you got to be real with me because I know you like Tyron Woodley, and he's your boy. He defended his belt 10 days ago, but not without some criticism for the performance. So I certainly was one who defended his performance. But where do you stand in terms of a fighter's obligation, champion or not, to not just win, but to also entertain along the way?
You know, oh, man, that's a hard – I think the entertainment comes before the fight. The entertainment, if he did have one big criticism is that I don't think that he really played up to the fight too much. You know, he kind of flew under the radar. It was going to happen anyway with Jones in D.C., but I felt like he could have built it up a little bit more, and then people would have gave him a little more credit, you know, if he would have gave Damian some more credit, because as we all know as fighters how tough Damian is and how tough of a fight that is, and I don't think that Woodley did a great job of selling that to other people. So when they look at the fight, they look at Damian like, oh, Damian sucks. Like this Tyrone guy should have just took him out. But as fighters, like we all know, you can't get over reckless against Damian. One slip up and you done. So I think he should have sold that a little bit more, and then people would give him even more respect for it. You know, sometimes you gotta just demand the goddamn respect. You ain't just gonna, you know, people just ain't gonna give it to you for nothing. So I think if you look at somebody like Mayweather, who I consider like one of the greatest promoters ever, he always builds up his opponent even. So when he goes out there, and even if he has a boring fight, which Mayweather's known for having a boring fight, he builds up his opponent so much that you say, okay, he shut him down. You know, he shut down one of the best guys in the world, and that's what Tyrone did. He just isn't great at promoting himself yet. So, you know, people give him slack for it. Even the goddamn promoter give him slack for it. So, you know, I think he could have done it. I think the entertainment is a separate aspect than the sport. It's sportainment, but the entertainment got to come before. When you in there to get your job done. And I would have honestly done the same thing versus Damian, except I would have probably finished him on the ground a little bit.
Well, that's an insightful answer, and one that I haven't heard from a lot of fighters. So good on you for that. UFC lightweight contender Kevin Lee. Man, I know I speak for Ken Flo. It's been